joining.
Greg.
Today's topic is actually going to be Microsoft Excel. Anybody here have experience with Microsoft Excel, ever used it as a tool or at work? Feel free to put something in the chat. Just kind of curious where everybody's skill level is at. I see Lucy's on the call. I'm pretty sure Lucy has used some Microsoft Excel. Is that right, Lucy?
That's right.
Okay, that's what I thought. A little bit of experience there. Great, guys. Well, we're going to actually start with a little bit of an icebreaker. I have a table here that I'm going to fill out. Let me just get it ready. I'm going to actually turn off my camera so you guys can see my screen fully. And here we go. Let me just start sharing my screen. You guys can see what I'm working on here. Okay. You guys can see my screen, hopefully. You should see a table. Can you guys see that, babe?
Yes.
Okay, great, perfect. All right, so I'm going to go around. I need your guys' help, so don't be shy. I need you guys to participate here, and I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to need 5 volunteers. So who would like to be our first volunteer? I just need a little bit of information from you. What we're going to do is I'm going to fill out this table physically, and then we're going to use this to create our table in Excel. Because Excel is a program that we use for adding up numbers. It does math for us. We can use it to make a schedule. We can use it to do a to-do list. You can make a calendar. You can do a budget in your Microsoft Excel program. It's part of the Microsoft Office suite of programs. So there's Microsoft Word, which we would use for writing letters or a resume. Microsoft Excel is primarily going to be used for handling numbers or like long list of organized data, right? So you have let's say a mailing list. If you own a company or a nonprofit, you probably have a mailing list and it has maybe a couple hundred names or thousands on it. And it's a name, a address, maybe a phone number and an email address, but you have a table that has all of that information on it. So that's primarily what we're going to be looking at today. And this is one of I would say the top skills that's going to be important if you're going to be in an office environment and just have normal data processing. So with that, I would love to have our first volunteer. Who would like to go first? I'm going to actually just go ahead and pick somebody. I'm going to pick Zipporah. Zipporah, if you don't mind sharing with us just some basic data here. What time did you wake up today?
Oh my goodness.
8:30.
8:30. There you go. I love it. 8:30 a.m. What did you have for breakfast today?
Tea and banana.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And how many classes have you taken with us?
2. This is the third one.
Is this your first one?
The third one today.
This is your third one. Great. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. Okay, who's up next? Let's go with Agatha. Hopefully I'm saying that right. What time did you wake up today, Agatha?
Or maybe it's Agatha.
Agatha? We'll come back. Maybe they're taking care of kids. Let's go with Lucy really quick. Lucy, what time did you wake up?
7 o'clock.
7. We'll go with 7 a.m. What'd you have for breakfast?
Eggs and chapati and tea.
Eggs
chapati, tea.
and what? Chapati?
Eggs, chapati, tea.
Okay.
Tea and bean, milk.
Okay. And how many classes have you taken with us total? Do you know off the top of your head? Approximately? So I'll say you've taken like 7. I know you've been around taking some classes, which has been great. Who else do we got, babe? Who else? I don't see the full list right here in front of me.
We can ask Jean-Paul.
Excellent. I like that one. John Paul.
Yes.
What time did you wake up, sir?
Today I woke up at 6:20 a.m.
Okay. On the dot. Did you wake up at 6:19? 6:21?
6:20.
Is that because the alarm was 6 and you snoozed twice?
No, Honorin woke me up. I didn't even want to stand up to leave the bed this morning. I had to tell the truth.
I get it. I
Also,
get it.
It was like she was like, "Get up, go take shower, and go to work." So
Get out of
Get-
here.
And
Right.
that was after third time alarm went off.
yes, that's true. It was like, go, get ready. So that then I was like, okay.
I love it. I love it. It's like, okay, I'm going. I love it. All right. So you 6:20 this morning. It is hard to get
Yes.
up when it's cold and it's just rainy and dark. But it was a nice day today. It was a nice day. It wasn't too cold.
Yes.
What did you have for breakfast today, sir?
Donuts and coffee.
Oh, see, now we're talking. Donuts and coffee. And how many classes have you taken with us? I know you've been at all of them, I believe.
Yeah, I've been like, how many? Just a big, yeah. All of them like grammar, but I only missed one.
I'm gonna
No,
put you
I
down
missed
for
two.
11.
I
I'm gonna put you
missed
down for
two
11.
of them.
Because we did, yeah, I think you've been, I'll say 11. Okay, I need one more person.
Let's see. Let's see. We've got. Have you asked Julia?
Julie, are you there?
Okay, how about Felegouche? How about Gladys? Does Gladys want to participate?
I see, mhm. Looks
Excuse
like
me.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So how do you say your name? How do you say your name?
Ooh.
I got it.
Agada.
Oh, Agatha.
Agatha.
Thank
And my husband is actually here too. Patrick.
Fantastic. We have lots of people with multiple people behind the camera today. So
Yeah.
good. So good. Okay, well, for you or your husband, what time did you guys wake up today?
6 o'clock.
Ooh, that's our early risers right there. All right. And for breakfast, what did you guys have today?
I had potatoes.
Oh,
All right.
yeah,
I can-
just
Potatoes.
have- yeah.
Mhm. And then how many classes have you guys taken with us? Is this your first one?
Yes.
Great. I'll put you guys down for one. Thank you. Thank you. And so I think there was one other person. Julia looks like she came off mute.
Yeah.
Julia?
Yes, I'm there.
Great, Julia.
Yes.
Let's see. Thank you for being here. Is this your first class with us, or have you been here before?
Today is my first class.
Great. How'd you hear about us?
I saw an advert on one of the social medias.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Thanks for joining. Good to have you. We're here every Thursday, and then we're also in person on Tuesdays at 6 here in Federal Way, and then on Saturdays at 1 p.m. here in Federal Way also. So, thanks for joining. So, really quick, this will be our last one. What time did you wake up this morning?
7 o'clock.
All right. And breakfast?
I had some fruit salad.
Oh, there you go. I like that. You guys making me hungry. I haven't had dinner yet. That sounds all good. Well, thank you. So now I've got my table here. So I've made my table. So the table that you guys are looking at on the screen, I have gone and I have created that table just by writing it down. And you see how long that takes. You know, I have terrible handwriting. So if I had to interview, 100 people or more and do this, it would take quite a while to write that all down. And then really how do you distribute that information? If you have a table that you hand wrote, you have to, scan a copy or maybe take a picture with your phone. It's not very efficient as far as collaboration and sharing that information. And it's hard to sort through that information. Let's say you had a physical list. Anybody ever, back in the day, we used to have phone like flip cards, and you might have 200 contacts, and you have to look for one name. And that can be difficult. It might be in alphabetical order or something like that. But what if you wanted to pull up, your newest contact, or you only wanted to see contacts of people that lived in the city of Tacoma? Very hard to sort through that without having to flip through each one of those to figure out, well, who lives in Tacoma or who's in Renton or Kent. So spreadsheets give you the ability to have large sets of data and to be able to sort that data to get to what you really need. Because sometimes you don't need all of the data, you just need a little bit, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and open up Microsoft Excel for you guys. This is Microsoft Excel down here at the bottom. Ooh, got my passwords open. I'm going to close that. Don't want you guys to see my passwords. So right down here is Microsoft Excel, and you also have Microsoft Word. We did some training on Word a couple weeks ago. Today we'll be covering Excel. Another way to get to Microsoft Excel, and again, you may not have this on your computer. You do have to purchase it. It's about $100 a year. If you go to Microsoft.com and then you go to Microsoft Office, we can actually just look at it really quick while I'm talking about it. Maybe that'll help. Let me pull this over. So if you wanted to purchase this, you go to Microsoft.com and then there's Microsoft 365 right here. Let's take a look really quick. And here you go. Office is now Microsoft 365. So you would just, if you wanted to buy it for your computer, I believe you can, under one account, that's about $100 a month again, or $100 a year rather, you have access to Excel, Word, PowerPoint, which is a presentation program. Very, very popular. You also get access to back up all your files onto the cloud, which just means that they're not on your computer. So if you ever lost your computer got damaged, all your files would be on the cloud. That way you don't have to worry about losing your physical device or not having access to it. Just a really quick story. My laptop stopped working on Saturday. For those of you guys who are at the church, you were there. And I wasn't worried about it, honestly, because everything that was on my laptop was backed up to the cloud. So I wasn't worried. If all I could do is just go get a new laptop, log into my Microsoft account, I would have been able to bring down all of those files that were on the cloud. So again, that's part of the package. So Excel, Word, Cloud, PowerPoint, Microsoft Outlook is an email. And then Microsoft Teams is really good for collaboration if you own a small business or something like that. We at Mission Africa actually use it as an internal tool for all of us who work with Mission Africa as partners to collaborate and communicate amongst our team so that we can stay on track with what's going on and sharing files and things of that sort. So it's a really great program. Again, if you're going to work in corporate America or in an office environment or even in a clinic and you're going to be working on a computer, you're probably going to end up working with Microsoft 365, formerly known as Microsoft Office. So I would recommend, if it's in your budget, to consider getting a copy. So you can just go to personal and family here, and then it'll give you the different options to pay yearly or pay monthly. And again, here it is, $99.99 a year. And you get access for up to 5 devices. So you could have your computer and 4 other computers that will be able to download the software program and have access to the program under the $100 a year. So essentially, that comes out to like $20 a person, which is really great. Because again, it's something that you're going to use quite a bit if you're going to be working in any type of administrative position. All right, so let's go ahead and open up Excel. And this meeting is being recorded, guys, so you don't have to take a lot of notes. If you're a person that maybe wants to go back and look at the video at a later date, it'll be on the Mission Africa website. So you can just relax, try and soak it all up. The video will be available shortly after the training is done today. And then you can go back and review it on your own time. You can pause me, you can rewind me, you can fast forward me if I'm going too slow, whatever you need to do. So this is Microsoft Excel right here. So I am going to talk fast because it is recorded. Feel free to go back. So you just left click Microsoft Excel. So anytime I say left click, I'm talking about your pointer finger on your mouse. You might have a trackpad. It would be in the bottom left corner on your laptop where your mouse is. There's normally a square. You go to the bottom left to left click. If you have a mouse, like I have here, a mouse, it would always just be your actual index finger. And so you just left click on Microsoft Excel. And right now we are going to just hit new. So you see I hit new, and then I'm just going to make a blank workbook. A workbook is nothing more than a blank sheet of paper for you to work on. All right, I'm going to zoom in so that you guys can hopefully see this. I know some of you may be on your phones, so I'll do my best to keep it nice and big for you guys. So now the table that we created when we started the class, this table here, I'm actually going to recreate this table in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, I'm sorry. So just to give you guys some terms that you're going to hear me use, this is the active cell. Anytime you see a green square around an intersection of a column and a row, that is called the active cell. So A1, in this case, is the active cell. Where did I get A1? This is column A. So columns always go to the right, and they go all the way down the spreadsheet. People might say, well, how far does it go down? I believe a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet can hold about 1 million rows. Don't quote me on that. You can probably Google it. But this is column A. So in this case, for our table, we're going to create, column A is going to be name. Column B is going to be wake up time. Column C is going to be breakfast. And column D is going to be number of classes taken. Okay. So you see here, you can just have as many columns as you want. If you want to ever highlight a whole column, you can just hit the letter at the top and they'll highlight the whole column. And then over here on the left, you have rows, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and so on. As you scroll down, and again, to scroll down, you would just roll back, roll towards yourself on your mouse, and that'll take you down the spreadsheet. And you can see here, we just continue to get more rows, we're row 106, etc. So I'm going to just scroll back up. And so the active cell is the intersection of the column and the row that you're on. So if I was to put my mouse here, you can see that this is the active cell here, and that is cell B4, right? So column B, row 4, where those two intersect is called B4, okay? So again, if I was to go over here, that's G1. If I was to go down here, E7. Another way to see what active cell you're in is right up here in the left. Right up here in the left, you see E7. That's telling me that my active cell, that if I was to start typing, is going to go type in E7, okay? So that's the active cell. You're going to hear that term a lot. So again, just to review, columns, and we'll have a little fun at the end, and we'll have a little fun assessment to see how much you guys picked up. So columns and then rows. Okay. And again, lastly, just to review, B3 is this column right here. So we're going to go ahead and finish out our table. So Zipporah, Mena. While I'm typing this in, question for you guys, and feel free to write in the chat, what cell did I just write the name Zipporah Mena in?
A2.
Yes, perfect. And what is the last row of information on our table? What's the last row that we're using on this table?
A7.
Close.
No, A6. A6.
Yes, you got it. Okay. 7 a.m. 6:20 a.m. 7 a.m. You guys get to watch me type here. A little choppy today, but that's all right. Breakfast, tea, and banana. Potatoes. Eggs. Help me out, Lucy. Chapati. I might have done that wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's correct.
Donuts. Is that how you spell donuts? I should know how to spell donuts. Too many donuts today. Donuts, coffee, fruit
Yes,
salad.
American English, but no British.
Ah, right. Okay. I have the OUGH, right, babe? My wife is a school school teacher. She corrects all my bad English at home. She's being nice right now. She's laughing because she's like, yep. All right. So what do you guys notice about, let's say, cell C4 right here? What do you notice? I wrote there eggs, chapati, and tea. What happened to my words? This is an interactive class. Somebody help me out. What happened here on
They
C?
overlap. Yeah, they're covered by cell C.
Yeah, it's covered. And so this is a common issue that you'll see. Also here, I wrote wake up time in B1, but you can see here that the column isn't quite wide enough for me to see all of that. And so there's a couple things you can do here. So we can just, when we go up between B and C, notice when I put my cursor at the kind of the border between B and C, notice that my cursor, I get a plus sign. When I see that sign, that's telling me that I have a different option. So if I just see the down arrow and I click, I'm just going to be able to highlight the whole column, and I can do things like make the whole column yellow. I can, make the whole column black. I can make the whole column no color. I can do multiple columns if I want and make all the writing red, right? So that's the benefit of being able to highlight an entire column, is you can format that entire column in a certain way. Same thing with a row. If I wanted to make this whole row, let's say highlighted in yellow, I can just click the one, it'll highlight the entire thing, and then I can just do different formats there, okay? But in this case, I don't want to just highlight the column. I want to actually make the column width wider. It's not wide enough. I can't see the information that I wrote. Same thing here in C4, I can't see it. So what you want to do is just grab, again, you can see I got the plus sign when I went up between B and C, and I'm just going to left click and hold, and then I'm just going to drag it to the right. And you see how it makes it wider? I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go up. You see I got the down. As soon as I get closer to that border, I get a plus sign. That's telling me I have some options. So I'm going to left click again. And now I'm going to shrink it back down because I made it too big. There we go. I like that. That looks okay. So I'm going to do the same thing for all the columns. Just going to make them all nice and wide so I can see all my information. Okay. Another thing I like to do is put borders in. So I'm just going to, again, select my entire table. And I'm just going to go up here. So again, because I selected the entire table, if let's say I wanted to put one thick border around the whole table, then there's lots of options you have here, but let's say I did thick outside border. And again, I want to slow down and show you where I went. So I selected the whole table, and then just up here, you see if you put your mouse over it, don't click anything, just put your mouse over it. It says bottom border. But I want a thick outside border. So I click it, and when I click away, see I get a thick outside border. So in this case, though, I want all the borders inside because it just is a little bit easier on my eyes. So I'm going to click all borders. So now you see we have all of our borders. It looks very similar to this table that I wrote on the paper, but now we have a digital version of that table. So a couple things we can do from here now is we can take a look and say, okay, let's say we want to do a little bit of formatting. Maybe we want to make the top row, maybe we want to make that bold because we want to differentiate it, make it look bold. So let's go up and again, you select the cells that you want to make bold. So I'm going to actually unbold. If you only wanted to do cells A1 and B1, just select A1 and B1. Again, you click and hold, left click and hold, and you drag and you select the things that you want to make bold. In this case, I'm going to do all of row 1. So I'm actually going to click here. It's going to select all of row 1. See how it just continues to go all the way over? How many columns are there in Excel? See, I could just go all the way over to ZZ. As you go over, you can see after it ran out at Z, just went to AA, AB, AC, and it will continue all the way over to ZZ. So for this one, I just want to make it bold. Let's say you also wanted to make it italics and then underline. So you have a lot of options there. So there we go. Name, wake up time, breakfast, and number of classes taken is all good. So now we've got a nice looking table. We've got our names in there. We have the times, we have what they ate, and the number of classes taken. Nice and easy. So this is our initial table. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go here and on row 1, I'm going to also highlight. So just look, I went to the paint symbol up here. And I just clicked the yellow and it just highlights that first column. Does that look pretty decent? I think that looks pretty decent. That's a nice table. And then, of course, if you wanted to add to this, you could continue to add rows down here below. So now that you have your table, let's say you were done with it for the day and said, okay, I got my table. I'm going to get more information tomorrow. You want to save it. So there's a couple ways to do that. You can go up here to the quick access toolbar up here at the top, all the way at the top. This is where you are going to have, you know, options that are be available no matter where you are in your spreadsheet. You could be on any of these tabs here. You could be down at row 100. It doesn't matter. This quick access bar here at the top will always be there. So what you would want to do is just hit save. The little diskette, it looks like a little disk there. That's your save button. And so you would just hit save right there. And it's going to ask you, well, where do you want to save it? And what do you want to call it? So let's call this right here where it says file name. Let's call it breakfast table. And then the other option here is where do you want to save it? So the top option is what's the name? The bottom option says choose location. I'm going to choose desktop, and that'll put it straight on my desktop, and I'll show you what that means. So I named it, I told it to save to my desktop, I hit save, and then we can close it out. I'm going to show you some options up here. If you ever are working on a table and you just want to move the entire thing out of the way for a little bit, you can always hit this down arrow here, this little under hash, looks like a dash. That is to minimize your window. See, and it just goes away. Where did it go to? It went down to the bottom of your screen. So if you just put your mouse over Excel in the bottom, you'll see a little bit of a preview of what it is. You can just click that and it'll open back up. Say you just don't want it to take up your whole entire window. You can actually just click the button next to it. So not the X and not the hash, but this button here. And it'll become, this is called a window. Okay, so this is your window. You can have multiple windows open in Word. Let's say I had a Word document open and I wanted to also have a Excel window open. Now I have two documents open here. I have a Word document where I might be typing a letter, you know, hi, et cetera, et cetera. And I could also be working on my spreadsheet over here in a separate window. So that's one of the great things about having a nice big screen is you can work on multiple things at the same time. Because sometimes you might be referencing this spreadsheet while you're writing your letter. You might say, hi, you might be, writing a letter to Zipporah. Zipporah, I see that you woke up this morning at 8:30 a.m. and had tea and a banana. Do you see the benefit of having multiple windows there? It's really nice because you can see your spreadsheet and you can have your Word document. One more thing I wanted to show you all in Excel is that if this is not big enough to see, you can always come down here to the bottom right. There's a scale and you can hit the plus sign to zoom in. Just continue to click. You see I'm at 290%, 300%, 310. I think you can go all the way up to 400% there. But let's say that's too big. You can always grab it and go backwards, zoom out, then it might get too small. So normal is 100%, but you can always increase by just using the plus sign at the bottom right there. I want to stop for a second and see if anybody has any questions about anything that we've done so far.
Yes, I had written a question in the chat asking, how do you type on the left and the right like I see? Is it similar to Microsoft Word?
So you're saying when it's to the left of the, like in this case, it's to the left in the cell.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Good question. So great question. So normally any text will automatically go to the left. As you can see here, when I write in text, which is letters, of course, it's always going to go to the left because it sees that as text. You can see here that time and numbers automatically went to the right. Okay, so if you wanted to change that, let's say I didn't want the time and the numbers off to the right, I wanted it to the left like everything else. You just select again the things that you want to move, and then you can come up here, and this is your alignment. So these here are your vertical alignment. The ones up top are your vertical alignment, and the ones here in the bottom are your left. So you see a line left. So if I click that, it'll move it to the left. Align center or right align. So you can move it around. So you just have to select what you want, center, right, or left. I'm actually going to make these a little bit bigger so I can also show you the vertical one. Also note that all the words are and all the text are at the bottom of the cell. You may want to center that information vertically and horizontally. You want all the text right in the middle of the cell. No problem. Let's go to, we can just again select what you want to move. So in this case, I'm going to select the whole table. And you can center, again, the bottom one is the horizontal. So center horizontally. And then we also want to go up and middle align so that it goes vertically into the middle of each cell. And there you go. So that's how you would do that. Okay, that is a great question. Thank you for asking that. That is something that I use on essentially every spreadsheet that I make. Another couple of functions I wanted to share with you guys, we got about 20 more minutes, is again, if you select A1 through D1 in this case, and let's say you wanted to make these bigger and bolder, they're already bold and underlined and italics, but let's say you just wanted to make it bigger. Again, you select your align, and you can just go up here to increase font size, okay? Or you can decrease font size. Or just to the left of that, this number here is the font size. So notice if I hit up, it changes to 12, 14, 16. So if you didn't want to just keep clicking up, you can just hit the drop down just to the right, that arrow. Anytime you see that arrow there, that indicates that you're going to have multiple options in what we call a drop down menu. So if you click that, you can just go straight to making it 72. Way too big though. So let's say we wanted to make it 20. But now we have a problem again. Now I can't see the information because it's taking up too much space. So there's another way to solve it. If you don't want to continue to keep making your columns wider, there's an option here for wrapping text. So let's take a look at that. Let's highlight these two. And I'm going to just do wrap text. Because notice here in B1, it should say wake up time, but because we made the font bigger, now we can't see that. So I'm going to select A1, B1. We're going to select the option for wrap text. And there you go. I'm going to do the same thing for C and D. Notice I didn't do wrap text for D, and it's still kind of running off the cell. So you have to select it and select wrap text, and then it will wrap text vertically for as much information as you have so that you can squeeze it into a tighter column. Because sometimes you don't want your columns to just keep being bigger, 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 but you want to get more information. So that's where wrap text comes in handy. It will not keep going wider. It'll actually start going vertical. Does that make sense? Everybody tracking on that?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay. So we got a nice spreadsheet here. Again, it's already saved. So we already saved it to our desktop. So let's go look. So anytime you get ready to close a document out, you always want to hit save one more time. Because depending on how you're set up, most folks, if you close this document right now, it may not save some of those last changes. It won't save anything past the last time we saved. And so it's important to make sure anytime you get ready to exit, you hit save, because that's going to tell the computer, I want to save my current changes. So I just hit save right there. Again, another way to do that would be go file and then hit save here, or save as a copy if you wanted to change the location. Right now, we're just going to do save. And now I'm going to close out. So the X in the far right corner, top right corner, will close out the program. So there we are. So the program's closed. Now I'm going to go and grab the file on my desktop. So there it is right there. And so there's my file. So now we have a file. It's on our desktop. So again, this is your desktop. Whatever you see when you open your computer, that's going to be your desktop. And we have it saved here. I don't recommend you save a lot of stuff here, okay? It'll get full pretty quickly. One way that you can organize if you decide to save onto your desktop, just bring over a couple more documents here. Sometimes you have a lot of documents. Let's say you have 5 documents and they're all related to one subject. One way to organize is you can come and you can, if you right click on your desktop and do new and then folder. And that's essentially, so you see how I have a folder here and I have multiple documents in that folder. It's going to do the same exact thing. So you create a folder and we're going to be able to put all those documents in one folder. Makes it a little bit easier to find your things. So let's say we want to make a folder for, we'll just call it Mission Africa. Okay, and all these files are related to Mission Africa. So again, you can do it one at a time. You can just click and move those documents in, click and hold, and you can literally drag and drop those documents into that folder right there. And now if we double click the folder, it's going to open up, and guess what's inside? We have our 1, 2, 3, 4, our 5 documents. Okay. Another way to do that is you can see I'm selecting all, and I can just move everything out at one time. So we have all of our documents here. Another way to move them into Mission Africa is, let me make sure I move them out. Yep. So Mission Africa is empty because I moved them back to my desktop. Is you can just make a square around all of the documents. So again, left click in the top left, and then select all the documents. So you left click and hold, select all the documents. You can, You know, select as much as you want. If you had 100 documents, so you select everything that you have, and you just then, once you see they're all highlighted here, you just grab one of them, left click again, and see that I can move that around. But once you get on top of that folder, it says, do you want to move this to Mission Africa? If yes, release the click, and there's your documents. If you want to open the document again, because you want to work on it again, maybe the next day, all you have to do is select it. So you have to double click. So again, that's a quick click, right? Boom, boom, with your left finger, if you're right-handed, and you're back to your document here. Okay. I'll show you guys a couple more things here. And this is a little bit more advanced, but I want to share it, and you can go back and review the video maybe at a later date. But this is very helpful. Let's say that you wanted to see in order, you wanted to see who woke up first, and you wanted to have it in order of who woke up the earliest to the person that woke up the latest, because you want to see who your early risers are. Too easy. All you have to do is come here and select, again, row 1, and go to sort and filter. So this option over here will allow you to sort columns or filter columns. So because we have the 4 columns already selected, we can just come over and we can do a filter. And notice that it adds a little drop down for all of the columns that we already have. And again, you only want to do it on the title row. So you don't want to select the entire column or the entire row. You just want to select the header for that column. And now, again, we want to see in order who woke up the earliest to who woke up the latest. So you just go to the drop down here for wake up time and say sort smallest to largest. And it automatically changes the order so that we can see who logged in or who woke up first, 6 a.m., 6:20, 7, and 7 or 8:30 there. Or we can do it the other way. We can do largest to smallest and see who woke up the latest and then go backwards, okay? Or maybe we want to do it in alphabetical order. Again, A to Z, and it puts it in alphabetical order for us. A, J, L, and Z. And lastly, we can do the same thing over here with number of classes. If we wanted to start with who's taken the most, all the way down to the some of our newest candidates, because let's say, you know, we were going to do some kind of an outreach for our new learners. And I may only want to see people who have done their first class. Again, you can hit the drop down here and you can select all, or you can just select, I just want to see the people who've only taken 1 class. So you uncheck all the people who've taken a lot of classes. Now we only have 1 remaining. So that's only going to show us the folks that this is their first class. And let's say this was some kind of an email roster or a contact roster. You say, oh, and now you have their email over here. So, you know, whatever it is at gmail.com and at gmail.com. And now you've identified your newest students. You have their email. And now you can write them an email and say, hey, glad you made it out to class. We noticed that this was your first class. Here's the links for additional classes. So this is why you use spreadsheets. It's very useful for managing your data. You can also do budgets. So I'll show you guys a couple more things you can do, and then we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A. So I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to open up Excel again. If you wanted to use some pre-made things, I love that they have this in here. Does anybody on the call have a business or a nonprofit? I know there's one person for sure. Anybody else? Looks like maybe, okay, I know Lucy does. And I bring that up because here you can create an invoice. So if you need to create an invoice for your business because you sold some products or you're buying something from someone and they need to create an invoice, they have a template here. And a template is nothing more than somebody already created something that most people are going to need eventually. So you can just use that template that my wife and I, we use the template from Excel to invoice for our business, okay? Maybe you want to set up a budget. Personal net worth calculator. That one's kind of great. You can tell it your assets. Oh, and this actually uses some different things that I didn't talk about yet. Tabs. If you want to have multiple spreadsheets in one, what we call workbook. So a workbook would have multiple tabs, and you can have, this one can be, so here they have a tab for assets, and then they have a tab for debts. And then this tab calculates the difference between assets and debts to tell you your personal worth. So it tells you your total assets here, tells you your total debts, and then it gives you your personal net worth, which I think is fantastic. So that's a great one. You also have a personal monthly budget. Again, you can tell it your projected monthly income, your actual income, and then you can actually use it to itemize and keep track of your expenses as you go through the month to keep track of your money. If you're that type of person that wants to keep track of it down to the dollar, you can do that in Excel. And this is already set up for you. So all you have to do is plug in the numbers. Like for instance, here you see this person had a negative 41 bucks. Maybe some of us can relate, been there. So let's say the projected cost for something is 54, and then you bust budget because, you know, this is for the phone. Let's say somebody decided to make a bunch of collect calls, and now that is $500. Notice when I change that number, it changes the difference, and it also changed the total. So that's another nice feature of Excel is it'll do math for you and very quickly. It's a live spreadsheet. So as you update numbers, formulas will update also. So that's our Excel class, y'all. This is our basic Excel. I call it Excel 101. We'll have some additional Excel classes coming up in February. But this is our Excel 101 class. I want to leave a few minutes for some questions. If you have questions, feel free to just unmute, or you can just put your question in the chat.
I have a question.
Yes.
Those filters that you put on, how do you remove them?
Let's do it. Let me go back and pull up my spreadsheet, breakfast table. And so now let's say I want to go back to see all of the information again. I don't want to see just the people who this is their first class. So again, I can just select the top row. We can come here and we can clear the filter. Okay, so that gets rid of all filters, or you can just turn the filter off, which you just click filter again. It gets rid of the filter, and then you have all of your information there.